Okay, Beshem Hashem Nasem Nasiach. We continue with Limud Kolel Chasot. Bezat Hashem, tonight we're starting a little bit earlier and we're going into Chasot. Tonight learning is dedicated for Ilui Nishmat, Janet Bad Yosef, Reuben Ben Levi, and we have other sponsors as well. We're not going to say all of those names. Bezat Hashem, we're going to put the names in the description. So below this video, you could see all the names, and please have them in mind, especially those who need refuah shelema. Okay, this limud is dedicated for success of all the Yehudim and all the Cholei Israel, that they should have refuah shelema, and Be'ezat Hashem we should all have hastacha, and Hashem should give us siyata dishmaya to continue this learning with all its challenges.
Amen.
Okay, there is a very interesting Zohar HaKadosh that is brought in Zohar HaKadosh. You could look at it if you like. In Parashat Evek. Parashat Evek, that's the only one we have, so you could share together. Parashat Evek, page Resh Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph. Resh Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph. This Zohar HaKadosh is going to tell us 10 things that every Yehudi needs to know and needs to observe on Shabbat, right, for his meals. Right? It's not the meals of Shabbat. 10 things that are corresponding to the 10 olamot. Right? And so these things we're going to learn it, and Be'ezat Hashem we need to bring it to practice. And in fact, it's not something too difficult, and we already do all these 10 things mostly. So we're going to learn more about them. Okay, you have it? The Asara. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, Rabbi, this is Aramaic you're reading from? Or?
Yeah, we're going to learn from Aramaic, and Be'ezat Hashem we're going to put some Hebrew into it as well. Okay. So over here in the Chokle Israel, this is brought in Parashat Ekev, this week's Parashat Leyom Chamishi. So it starts like this: Patach ve'amar ve'asita shulchan aseh shitim. Right. So the pasuk in Shemot says that one should make the shulchan from aseh shitim. Right. What is shulchan? It doesn't start it from that. It starts here from Tanina. Amar Raya Mehmana Usia Kadisha Zakah Cholehun.
For me, it's
or above that, here Asara Devarim. It's right here. Yes, better. So we do from the bottom. So
למבצע שני כיכרות.
yes, that's what I'm going to do from here. Okay. So Patach ve'amar. So in the Chokle Israel brings the Zohar from another place, right, and then goes to where we mentioned ve'asita shulchan aseh shitim, that one needs to make shulchan from aseh shitim. Now shulchan was a place that Kohanim had their lechem panim. Is that right? Lechem panim. So that the Kohanim had their bread that they would bake and they would have it there. That needs to be made from a special wood that is called aseh shitim. That wood was brought out by the Shevatim from Egypt, and originally it was taken by Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu was planted in Misraim. Right? After 210 years that they were in Misraim, they took this wood. They knew that they need to take it to use it for this shulchan, and then they used it in the making of shulchan that held these 12 loaves of bread. 12 loaves, right? Remember? Do I remember that correctly?
I think so. 12.
Okay. And that's another reference why, according to Zohar HaKadosh, one should have on his table of Shabbat not only 2, and this Zohar HaKadosh is going to talk about 2, but 12. That refers to the Shulchan. Right? So 12. Out of Eliyahu Netanya Shalita arranges always 12. And this is something that Mekubalim try to have.
For every Suda?
For every Seudah.
So it's 36 for. Oh,
But
you
then
can
you're
reuse
not
them.
gonna,
You can reuse them.
Yeah, you could reuse them.
Okay.
Right. So, what? So, yeah, Asa Shittim. Ta come and said, Minhagin Tavin Veshafiran Habu Nane Me'amar de Seudata de Marka'a. That there are Minhagim Tovim, there are certain Minhagim Tovim that we are accustomed to have. There are very good customs to have. Right, for the Seudat of Melech, that refers to the Seudat of Shabbat. Right? And not only that, this Seudah is referring to the Seudat of Chachamim. It's compared to the Lechem Hapanim, right, of the Shulchan, of the bread that the Kohanim have. La'achza'ah dinun mibnei petura de malka'ah. That in order that we come and we rejoice from the table of the Melech. What Melech we talking about? Melech Mancha HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right. Ve'asara devarim sarich la'adam le'me'emad be'seudata. And there are 10 things that the person needs to have for his seudah. He needs to prepare before Shabbat for his seudah. So, Amar Raya Me'mana Busina Kadisha Zakha Khulekun. Let me see if this is the same thing. Right? Maybe not. Maybe it's another place. So we just Tinina Lemimsa Ashane. Maybe okay, one second. So let's continue here. So what are these 10 things? Chad, number one is Netilat Yadayim. No, so we're gonna put some halacha into this as well. Whenever one is having bread, he is supposed to make netilah. 3 times right hand, 3 times left hand. According to Sephardim, we do 3 times. Now, this netilah with bracha is recited when you have at least kazait of bread. That's Midirabanan. Mideoraita, kazait is about 27 grams. Different opinions, 27, 30. Right? That's kazait. That's the size of an olive. Right? According to Chachamim, we need to have kabetza. That's the size of an egg. Right? So that's about 50 grams. 50, 52 grams, different opinions. Right? Now, if somebody is having less bread, it's recommended to make netilah, but without bracha. Right? Why do we make
bracha of the netilah?
without bracha of netilah?
Oh, okay.
Yes. Why do we need to wash our hands for bread? Right? Because the original halacha came from Kohenim. That when they wanted to have terumah had to be eaten with kedusha v'tahara, with purity, and hands should not be with mezuman, should not have zuhama, impurity, spiritual impurity. So since there is such a halakha for the Kohenim, Chachamim came and they said everyone should follow this. Why? Because when the Beit HaMikdash is rebuilt and Kohenim come to have terumah, you go to a Kohen and you give your terumah. If you're not doing it, right, and nobody else knows about it, the Kohen will not know about it either. They will forget.
Wow.
So that's one of the big reasons that why we making netilah. Of course, we also want to have clean spiritual hands when we enjoy the bread, right? Because bread is a very complete and holy food, right? Okay, so number 1, netilat yadayim. Tinina, as we learn, so here, Tinyana number 2. La'avanata shetei kikaron Shabbat. One is to prepare at least 2 loaves of bread, complete and shalem. We're putting some halakha, right? That it should not be cut before, should not be missing a piece, right? And this is the original baked bread that you have, 2 of them, right? The famous reason that why we have 2 of them is because man was given before Shabbat on Friday 2 portions. So these 2 bread refers to the 2 portions, right, of the manna that came on Erev Shabbat on Friday. Zohar HaKadosh is going to give a different reason. Zohar HaKadosh is going to say, why do we need 2? Keneged luchot. Luchot, keneged the 2 stones that were for Aseret HaDibrot, for the 10 commandments. There were 2, so too we have 2 bread. Why is that? Because when was the luchot given? Was given on Shabbat. Was given on Shabbat. Right?
This is the original one that Moshe threw it and he or this is the second one?
I think it's the second one. I don't remember which one was on Shabbat. Right now I don't remember. Do you remember that?
No way.
I think it was maybe the second one. Perhaps the second one. Okay.
So 2 we do on Shabbat, you mean? The 2 breads?
2 bread, yeah. So for the Seudah at night, Seudah in the morning, or some people do it, later towards the lunch, and the Seudat Shalishit, the 3rd Seudah, or Shalosh Seudot, right? According to Achenu Ashkenazim, you need 2.
Sorry, one question. Sorry,
yes, no problem.
My brother keeps using matzah. Is that okay?
Yeah, you could use any shalem.
Matzah, so
you could even use tea biscuits.
Oh, really? So
yeah, as the second one, but you cannot have that as a bread.
Both he uses 2 matzahs.
But 2 matzah, if a person is qovea seudah, if a person would having matzah as his seudah, then according to many opinions, that could the bracha on them is hamotzi, becomes hamotzi, because he's like a bread, is flour and water, it just didn't rise, right? And as long as it is not sweet. If it's sweet, then you need more than 2. You need more than 180 some grams. Right now I don't remember the exact amount, but you need to be qovea seudah, that you sit and you eat. Anytime that you have lots of cookies or cake, right? You could make hamotzi, and if you're having too much, and the bracha achrona would become bikat hamazon, right? So to make up for a shalem bread, right? If somebody doesn't have bread, can use matzah, that is complete, or tea biscuits. Yeah. Okay. So number 2, we said 2 loaves of bread. Telita. Number 3, lemechal telat seudatin. Ulesofa mechol al hakodesh. So Zohar HaKadosh tells us, before Shabbat, prepare enough food for 3 meals. And not only that, if on weekdays, you have kebab, on Shabbat you need to have more than kebab. Maybe you need to have kebab and sushi, or kebab and korma sabzi, or whatever you guys like,
To make it more special, because
yeah,
Shabbat
to make it more special, yeah. And to make it more, right? Leviatha, number 4. You need to have lahanaha patura bishraga. That you need to have bishraga. Bishraga is light. You need to have sources of lights by your table. Right? Halakha talks about it very much. One of the big reasons is back then they didn't have the electricity. In a way, it was a blessing they didn't have the electricity. So when it would become dark, maybe they would study a little bit, they would go sleep, and then they would wake up early. They would wake up early, they would do tikkun chasot, and they would go to Hanetz Minyan. they would have a whole full day.
Yeah.
With the blessing of electricity, sometimes a person can be fooled and he stays up, right, doing other things, and he loses the morning too. Right? So on your Shabbat table, make sure, or around your Shabbat table, make sure that there is candles, right? That you have the candles there, that you see what you're eating. That helps for Shalom Bayit. That helps to avoid obesity, right? Why is that, doctor? Because one who doesn't see what he's eating, he doesn't get satisfied. He doesn't get satisfied. If you see, there's a big portion of food that by seeing it, that's why the doctors recommend when you wanna avoid obesity, make your plate, whatever you wanna eat, put it in your plate. When you see it, as you eating it and you seeing it, there is some sort of satisfaction. So the brain is sending the signals. You had a whole big plate.
Versus eating potato chips while watching TV and you don't even see what you're
not seeing your plate or going to the kitchen, and you take the food a little bit from here, a little bit there. So make sure to see what you're eating. Right? It helps with Shalom Bayit. Because if the husband stomach is not filled, then what the problem could be, you didn't experience it, right? Complaints here. See? Yeah. So make sure that you have candles there.
So can it be the Shabbat candles that we just light up?
Ashkenazim have the Shabbat candles on the table. They make sure that it doesn't shake, right? We don't preferably put them on Shabbat table. Maybe some Sephardim have a different
our family does it on the same table too.
Okay, so that's according to Ashkenazim, that's okay. We put it on the side near to the table, Shabbat table. Right? At the time of Kiddush, right, one is supposed to see the candles of Shabbat. In fact, according to Sod, first when you come to home, you should straight head to Shabbat table, and you see the candles, and over there, Rabbeinu Arizal Alav Shalom says that you need to look at the first two ones that you lit, and you say Shamor v'Zachor b'dibur echad. That one of them represents Shamor, the other one represents Zachor. That refers to Shamor is the mitzvah of keeping Shabbat. Zachor is the mitzvah of remembering that it's Shabbat. That this way, then that's how you start your Shabbat at your home coming from Beit HaKnesset. Right? Chamisha, number 5, kos devai chulu. You need to have a cup in order to say Kiddush on it, to say Vayichulu Hashemayim v'aretz v'chos teva'am. Right? Shetita, number 6, lemechve al patura mile deoraita. You need to have divrei Torah by your Shabbat table. Zohar HaKadosh. Right? Zohar HaKadosh is going to explain more. Shevia, number 7, the aracha al petura begin the aniyim. Make sure that you have invited some poor people. Poor people, having guests. The actual, many people don't know this. The actual mitzvah of Hachnasat Orchim applies to people who do not have food or place to eat. Or they don't have a home. Hachnasat Orchim, very good question. Hachnasat Orchim is the mitzvah of hospitality, that you bring guests and you have together Shabbat, you have together a meal. Right? Yeah, this is the different Zohar. We need to find this Zohar. Okay, later we're going to find it. Okay, so that was number. Naracha al petucha begin the another al peture. So one needs to make sure that he has divrei Torah. right? And after that, make sure to have anim, poor people. Temina, this is Shemini. Number 8, Netilat Yadayim b'mayim acharonim. We have 2 Netilat Yadayim. One is before having bread, and one is before Bikat Hamazon. That Netilat Yadayim is called Ma'im Acharonim. Right? According to many sources, the second Netilat Yadayim is more important than the first one. Right? Wow. The first one, really was instituted because of the Kohanim. The second one, Gemara Masachet Berachot talks about it, that Chachamim instituted, or rabbis instituted, in order to take away a certain element that existed in Melach Sedomit. Right? Melach Sedomit is a special salt, right, that came from the city of Sodom. We all know there was a wicked city of Sodom and Amorah, that they did all sorts of crazy things. They would cut a person that was too tall, they would cut it short, they would cut the feet. They had a certain measurement for people living in the city. Whoever had guests, they would punish that family, bringing guests. They had all sorts of crazy things. And Hashem punished them, and this whole city, what we know about it these days and still is around, is this salt. Do we know where is this salt? What was the problem with the salt? That back then, when people would dip their bread in the salt, and accidentally salt could always go under your fingernails. And back then, by touching your eyes, lo aleinu, this could make a person blind.
Because it's a salt from the land of Lot.
From the Sodom.
Sodom.
Yes. Yeah, very good. Lot lived there. Right? So, Chachamim instituted, wash your hands. So, halachically, one needs to wash at least by the second knuckle here, and here by the first one. Right? Some do more. Right? Some use a keli, container of water, some don't. Right? It seems to be that it's better to use the keli. Right? So this way you make sure that you don't have this salt, even though that we don't know where this salt is. We don't know, it's not coming from that place. Right? But according to chemistry, what salt is called? Sodium. Right?
Wow.
So sodium. So once I came up with this chidush, when I learned this sugya be'iyun in yeshiva, sodium, right, comes to refer to you, comes to teach you that there is an element of melach sedomit that could be in any salt. Right? Refers to that sodium coming from the source. Right? Unbelievable. So yeah, ma'im acharonim. One is to wash hands. Ma'im acharonim. Zohar HaKadosh also tells us.
I didn't even know you have to wash your hands before you do the.
And Bet Midrash veli chidush. So you come to Bet Midrash, you learn new stuff.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem.
But so you don't do the 3 times each time. You can just wash your hands.
One time.
So you don't do 3 times on the right side, 3 times.
No.
On the left. You don't do
just
side.
one time. Right? You don't have to do the whole hand. If you want to do the whole hand, it's not a problem. You just make sure that the water doesn't spill all over, because this water, they say, is not so pure.
And you don't have to say the next bracha for it either.
There is no bracha. Al Chachamim instituted to say beforehand, not afterwards. To say beforehand, ma'im acharonim choba. Right? Why the Chachamim instituted this? In order that we should say Devar Halacha or Divrei Torah by our table. By saying Ma'im Acharonim Choba, you just saying the Halacha. You're saying washing your hands, right, in the end is a Choba, is an obligation. It's not Reshut. It's not, if I like to do it, I do it. If not, it's obligation. Okay, let's go on. Right? So, Tishia, number 9, Birkat Hamazon. Make sure to say Birkat Hamazon. Davar Beito Matov, this Birkat Hamazon. The concept of saying Birkat Hamazon, the after blessing on bread, right, of at least kazait, 27 grams, 30 grams, right? This is the mitzvah of Torah. We're going to talk about this further. This is very important mitzvah. Many people don't take it seriously. It's even more important than the tefillah of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippurim, in the sense that the tefillah of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippurim was instituted by our Chachamim. But Birkat Hamazon as a source from Torah in this 6th parasha, V'achalta v'savata u'berachta, right? That you eat, you get satisfied. It says in the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu says, and then you bless Hashem.
Wow.
Some people make a big mistake and they read it differently. They read it V'achalta v'savata u'berachta, that which means you run away. Right? You run away from the table. You just eat, get satisfied, and you leave. No, obviously that is not a way of a Yehudi. A Yehudi needs to take that opportunity to give this unbelievable Birkat Hamazon blessing. Has so many segulot in it. So many, makes a person rich, helps a person to get married, helps a person to have bracha in parnasa, right? Many things. Okay, Asira number 10. Kos di bracha. One is to have a kos, a cup for the bracha after the Birkat Hamazon. That you say nevarech on it, you hold it, you say we're gonna speak about all the details, and then after that, in the end of Birkat Hamazon, you say Bore Peri Hagefen, you have a repeat at least, and you say the bracha of Men Shalosh.
Is this just on Shabbos? You're supposed to do the kos?
Very good. This is not only on Shabbos.
You do it during the week by yourself, and you have.
Very good question. Well, halacha is that when you have 3 people who at least had, 2 of them had bread, and the third one made a zimun with that they started and finished it together, or at least they started together. They don't need to finish together. They started together, right? It has a lot of specifications, but if 2 of them had bread and the third one had something in between, let's say juice or cookies or fruits, the exception is water, then they can have zimun together, and they can, the person who says the nevarech can say it over the wine, nevarech, followed with beracha afterwards. So these are the 10 things. We didn't go into too much details. The next recording will have the rest of the details. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen, Amen.